If any of my future children with Down syndrome asked me what it means to milk something, I would look into the sky with Vietnam War flashbacks and shout the simple word Activision. That would be, of course, after I say that it means a very handy-dandy hand job. However, if you were for some reason living under a rock, well, good golly, do I have some news for you. Activision has decided to stop milking the living hell out of Modern Warfare, especially after its Twin Towers version of MW3. And so help me God, if someone argues that game wasn't bad, I will not argue back, okay? It is okay to still cope that you bought a $70 DLC. Let it all out, my friend. Let it all out. They are releasing Black Ops 7 this year, a year after Black Ops 6. Reasons are in the air, but I think we all know the main one. Money. You see, I'm not one to call myself a conspiracy theorist. I do believe the moon landing was real, and of course Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. However, I wish to point out some certain facts. Now, because I need a second to breathe, I'm just going to give a little rundown explaining this. Black Ops 6 was declared the biggest launch in Call of Duty history, surmounting over 300,000 players on Steam alone at its peak number. If you don't know what that means, holy shit, 300,000 people on PC played at the same time. However, 33.7 million players across all the other platforms played during its launch month. You see where I'm going with this? Black Ops 6 was a major success compared to the other Call of Duty games during launch month, and although this is opinionated, I didn't mind the game at all, like past Call of Duties. Was it the greatest? Absolutely not. But it was an improvement, nonetheless. Only problem was the retention, which can be proven just by looking at the drop-off that is still happening even now in that game. But that does not matter, because with the large wave of players and that fat wallet of cash going into their pockets, Activision probably realized they struck gold, so they're making a new one. Honestly, to me personally, it's really because the bar of expectations was so low that even a mid-game like this would raise it up at least an inch, which surprised practically everyone, including myself. So, they're bringing this shit back. Yippee. Am I excited? Not really. Now, I learned they are bringing back some old school shit, but we will get into that in a minute. You know how these videos work. I'm diving into all three categories and talking about them. And if you disagree heavily, then good job wasting 2 minutes of your life listening to a man like myself yap about this shit. So the campaign. Definitely not something that looks interesting in the slightest. The setting is supposed to take place after the events of Black Ops 2. Hooray. David Mason and Menendez are back. I am jumping in Jubilee. However, that also means that there is officially a canon ending to the campaign in Black Ops 2, which is something I'm not that big of a fan of. You see, Black Ops 2, you made your own choices that would set the ending in the game, and you were given a series of endings based off the choices you make. I like that a lot. The mystery behind what really went down was in the air, and you, the player, was in control in how what went down went down. I love games like that, and it kept me playing to get all of the endings. Well, now the official ending is you spare Harper and spare Menendez. So Woods is fucking dead, which is an ending I never enjoyed watching. However, my biggest kind of problem is the fact it's just odd. It just looks odd. Like, I'm assuming there's a drug that hallucinates you in the story and takes you to hell, I don't even know. I just see a giant monster that odds are we had to fight. Everything's all twisted and turned and whatnot. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people that find this a little bit interesting, and I'm pretty sure the whole story isn't revolved around this entirely, and if it is, God help us. It's just not something that would make you think, oh, this is up there among the best campaigns, if I'm being honest. And the only reason why it's grappling is really because old characters that we know and love are in it. Now, really the whole game is like a couple tiers lower to a Black Ops 2 remaster. Multiplayer is given a couple of remastered maps from 2012 alongside the 16 other new maps. Most of them kind of most cherished. Although I will say I am quite surprised that Standoff isn't in one of them unless they will add it later. However, with the remastered maps they offered up now, it's not that bad. They are also bringing back a couple of iconic weapons like the Peacekeeper and whatnot, but at least they are bringing in some new modes such as Overload, which, judging based off what I'm reading here, it's kind of just a more complicated capture the flag. Though I will admit it does sound pretty interesting, especially with what these new maps offer and look like. Another game mode is Skirmish, a nice 20v20 on what I'm assuming is a very large map, 2 of them to be more exact, that are more objective focused, which I will assume is like any other game mode in terms of getting points for your team. There's really nothing else to kind of talk about here in this game mode other than it's going to be a big lobby. Now, when it comes to the creative class part, everything is kind of the same when it comes to equipment like any other COD. You have your perks and your wildcards and shit, all practically being something we all know and used before. Now, the one thing that I think is very interesting and kind of cool and new is the weapon build sharing. You can create a class and put your attachments on a gun, forming a build code that you can share to your friends, which will input that class into their loadout. That is, like I said, completely new. I think it's really nice to show your friends what build you're rocking, or if they're rocking the meta shit, you can just take it from a code and use it for yourself. Other than that, I mean, when it comes to score streaks, everything is kind of the same, just with different names. Like the LGM, it's pretty much a motor strike and whatnot, so there's nothing really going on here. Now, another bit of news is the tactical sprint. A lot of people said it's getting taken out, and they are kind of only half right. In reality, it's more of an option when you have a selected perk in your setup. Nothing really to complain about. I never really cared too much about that ability, but shit, a lot of other fucking people did. And well, finally for now, it's the prestige. Everything is practically the same there in that front. I mean, classic prestige is going to max level 10, get some rewards, all your common stuff. They are doing weapon prestiges again, only 2 per gun, if I'm not mistaken, but with a high level that will reward you with a bunch of other shit. However, the one thing that is disappointing to me is the fact that it is still shared progression. If there was one thing that I hate in these newer games, it's the shared progression. I fucking despise it. If you level up in zombies, that means you also level up in multiplayer, and God help me for saying it, crappy Warzone, which I could have sworn they were getting rid of their servers back in the day. God damn it, we were so close. I mean, really, I think the COD launcher, which everyone hates, is primarily only because of Warzone, and that you can access it. Just make it your own singular thing to launch, as well as all the other COD games. Not to mention, a lot of people sometimes have problems with the launcher in the first place. But yeah, 16 new maps, a couple of them remastered, a couple of new weapons, a couple of old weapons, a couple of new game modes, and practically the same game modes. Nothing's really changed, honestly. I can't really say anything more about multiplayer besides that. Everything is practically the same except for the maps and a couple of new game modes. Let's just be fair here. And I'm not complaining about it, don't get me wrong, I am not complaining about it. But, I mean, that's all I can really say in multiplayer. I mean, it's just that. nothing else. But now on to the most somewhat anticipated game mode, especially here on this channel, zombies. Now, I'm not going to crash out just yet, but I will say they are bringing back the old crew. These guys will never retire, they are way too loved. The trailer, I mean, to be honest, I cannot lie, I was cracking up. The antagonist literally is the ghoul from Fallout, and you can't unsee it once you do. It's honestly a spitting image. I mean, like, the only thing different is that unlike Michael Jackson, this guy has a nose. However, I will say I'm getting a bit of high hopes for this because of the rumor they released a bit ago. Practically, old zombies is coming back. Allegedly. Keyword, allegedly. I don't want to toot my own horn here, but if this is true, then there might be a bit of replayability in this, unlike Black Ops 6. You see, to me personally, I think Black Ops 6 zombies lack any replayability because there was no challenge to it. You spawn in with a class you made and you can easily escape death with the tac sprint. If this list that I'm showing right now is true with the rid of tac sprint, I can see this mode being more challenging again. Now, as far as we are aware, the map is sort of a transit vibe. I'm not going to call it a remaster just yet, but essentially it's a large map with a couple of mini-maps in it. You get a vehicle that you can upgrade sort of like the bus, and apparently there's a goddamn bear zombie in this shit. So you know what? It might be fine. Now, I was never really a big fan of an open world zombies mode where you can just go wherever you want and do a bunch of shit. However, I think with all of this stuff, it may not be the worst thing to come now. It's not like Outbreak where you have to do an objective to pass the round, nor is it like MW3 Zombies where you're timed and you got an exfil. I mean, shit, I haven't even watched MW3 Zombies in a while. I forgot if there's even a storm you have to run away from, and if there is, thank God it is not that. A little bit of a side note though, over the years, I see a lot of people bitching about how other people are bitching about how easy the game is because of the shit they gave. A lot of their main arguments is simply get with the times, it's something new, which is what we need. I just want to say, shut the fuck up if you actually believe that. The game is easy as shit. I mean, fuck. You got people going to round 935 for Christ's sake, and it's not even one person, it's a whole goddamn list. The whole point of zombies is so that it's challenging. The zombies are ruthless. You're actually trying not to die. With what was being given in these previous CODs, there was no challenge. That's what made the game modes not fun in any way, shape, or form and lack hard replayability. If everything in this list is true, then odds are it will feel like old zombies, which so many people like myself resort to even today. Obviously, it's not going to feel the same, but at least it will be an improvement. And besides, it makes you improve yourself. It builds character. You don't need all these crutches, so don't bitch about this. Except you have a skill issue and need whatever the hell they offered you in past zombies, and actually play something that is challenging. That statement goes to the idiots like these people. Now, obviously there are a lot of details that I am overlooking or have missed. I kind of just wanted to give a general overview of what's being offered and what will be in the game. Overall, I'm not going to say Black Ops 7 is promising in the slightest. I mean, the zombies does look somewhat promising if the rumors are true. The multiplayer, I mean, I guess could work, but let's be fair, the multiplayer on any COD could work. It's the campaign, I can't lie, that's kind of the one I'm afraid of the most. I think the only big problem here overall though, however, is the fact that it's releasing very quick, only a year after Black Ops 6, so ultimately I guess we're just gonna have to see what happens. But with that being said, let me know what you guys think is going to happen when the game releases in November. Let me know what I missed that you think can be interesting in the game, even if it's the smaller detail like a certain lethal or a tactical or multiplayer that's new and all that fun shit. I will try to stream the beta when it releases in October and give my overall review of it when the time comes, so be sure to subscribe to see that in the future. Also, be sure to join the Discord, the link will be in the description. Use code FSI or WEnergy to get 10% off at checkout. Become a member, and if you want to watch me stream but prefer Twitch, then follow me on Twitch. Everything will be in the description. But other than that, there's my semi-rant about Black Ops 7. Maybe I'll go into more detail in the future videos. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye.